Al, it's time to delve into the Otome mines once again.
The Atome Gauntlet has begun.
It's been a while since we've done some Otome.
Yeah, it has. I was thinking about that, but now we're gonna have
Quite
several
a
to
few
do
quite a
soon.
few to get through here.
I was looking, January's the last time we did anything with this.
Yep.
Okay, wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Wow 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 wow.
Wow, 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 wow.
So yeah, we're back to Otomeing.
Mm-hmm.
Al's gonna tell us all about the Otome.
Time for romance.
That's right. Here this week on the Season Language Checkup OVA, it's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Allie, and Lady.
Hello.
This is episode number 486, and we're going to talk about Temirana, the Lucky Princess, and the Tragic Knight.
I don't know
Trademark.
why is the S all like
It's a
that?
shield.
I know that, but
How else are you going to fit the shield in?
well, okay, that's fair.
I mean, the P on the princess has a crown.
Oh, it does. You're right. Cute. I didn't notice that. Look at you.
Now you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I played this game
You did.
and I have thoughts.
Al has thoughts.
Some thoughts.
Only a few thoughts.
Um,
Got that Ichiban brain going.
God. He has no thoughts. I have a little bit of thought.
No, we just saw very recently some of that no thoughts.
Oh my God. That was embarrassing. Um, is there anything we should talk about? I guess we should talk about like voice actors and I mentioned the little tidbit about the Hollow Stars thing. I guess we should talk about that stuff.
They had those voice actors in this game.
What? Um, yeah, and the main artist for this has done art for Hollow Stars. I don't know how to say your name, my guy.
they're one of
Josichi?
they're the character designer for them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like if you look up that guy's character art, you're like, ah, yes, it does look very much the same as this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Um, and then, you've got some people who have been in Atome games before,
Huh.
and you have peers.
You got Piers.
Peers.
Resident Evil 6's Piers. Why isn't he
Yay.
on this list of previous roles?
Solid question. I'm trying to see. Okay, so Josephine, which yes, his name is Josephine.
Yeah, a good friend Josephine.
Alan Melville from Cube Parasite, that sounds right. Um, Shaw, yeah, 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 yeah. Tobias, which that's how they say his name, so I have to say it that way. I don't know most of the stuff that he's done, so there's that.
These first two
Mil
dudes are in Doctor Stone. That's what I know.
Oh, nice.
They're like they're the two friend characters, and they're throughout the series. So
Oh, Milan, he's the one who is Pierce.
mm-hmm.
He's also Biggs in Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Um, he's in Xenoblade, which I've never played in not English, so I wouldn't recognize it.
I think it's Cross that he's in.
That sounds right, yes.
He's in Naruto. Come on, don't forget that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about Naruto. Blah, 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 blah. Adele is I think the only thing I know him in is Tengoku Struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Kia, I got nothing.
Yeah, I think
And
when I
then
looked this dude up, he had like the least amount of like credits compared to anyone else.
okay. And then Eric's voice actor has been in so many things.
Eric.
Eric. Um,
A lot of games you might think or you might see on the ranking of Atome, of course.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He's familiar.
And then he was also the main guy in Robotics Notes. He is the main dude in Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Oh wow, look at him. He's in a lot
Uh,
of stuff we know.
he's in a lot of stuff, yeah.
Makes sense why he's the character he is in this then.
Yeah, just Eric.
Eric, the side character Eric?
Yeah, nothing weird's gonna happen with Eric.
Nope. Why would it?
You know, you bring up a strong argument here.
I mean, he's in the side character list,
Yep.
and
Ba- buried a ways down as well.
how many rows down? One, two, three, fourth row?
Yeah, just good old Eric.
Mm-hmm. You know, silver haired anime boy. That's never been anybody weird or anything.
Oh, very normal. They're all very normal characters.
So very normal. Especially Josephine.
Josephine.
It's like, it's not Josephish. Josephine.
Did you say Joseph Fish?
Yeah, like, you know, Joseph-ish. He's Joseph E.
I'm shaking my head. SMH.
Damn. Got me. And then there is an unvoiced protagonist, which is normal.
Yeah,
Her name
part of the
her name
course.
her name is Cecily.
Only her first name is customizable. Oh, hang on. What? How did you say they pronounce that?
Cecily?
That's wild.
Oh, well, Cecilia and then Cecily is what they call her.
Okay. I was like, that's a wild way to say Cecilia.
Yeah. Cecilia is her name, but Cecily is what the dudes call her. Or Cess.
Also, a wild way to short form Cecilia.
I agree with that entirely. I was like, what do you mean, Cecily? But, I don't make the rules.
I guess that would be even weirder if you like rename her.
Yeah, right? Like, what kind of nickname is she gonna get that doesn't match that? Like, my name is Cecilia. Call me Rose.
Call me protagonist.
Protagonist. I should have just named her Protag. And they're like, Cecilia Protag. Oh man. So yeah, she's the princess. She's who you play as.
You might
And
call her the Lucky Princess.
well, so here's the thing about the game is that the whole premise of the game is that she's the cursed princess of the kingdom. So she has a birthmark on her forehead that she covers up every day because you can't have any ill-looking marks on an anime girl, of course.
True.
And you can't even see it because of her bangs anyway, so it doesn't matter. But so she has that mark that basically if she takes off her necklace, like it'll kill her. She inherited it from her grandma. She's the third princess in the line. Her sisters are Angela and finger lady Claudia. Um, if you look at her art, you'll see why I called her finger lady. um, and so she is,
yes.
yeah. She has basically been exiled from her family for the past 16 years, but now she's coming of age. And when royalty comes of age in this kingdom that I'm forgetting the name of, then they have to form a knight order. And she has this little like quirk to her that anytime she's in danger, there's like this bright light that shows up that tells her like what to do or what to stay away from or whatever. And she's like, yeah, it's like the light of good luck or something. And so they're doing this like tournament, and she keeps seeing like bright lights poke up around the tournament. And wow, who could imagine that it would be the guys that you're gonna date? Wow.
I'm shocked.
So she meets them that way, and then when she finishes, she's like, I need to find all those guys and make them my knights. And everybody who's talking to her is like, what do you mean? They're all disaster cases. Like, why would you want them? She's like, no, no, you don't understand. Like, they have to be my knights. Um, so why do I say they're disaster cases? Because Josephine is a hot-headed, arrogant guy who's running around saying that he is the prince of a kingdom that basically doesn't exist anymore, and how he's like fighting to get his honor back and blah 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 blah. I was like, okay, that guy's crazy. Um, Adele is fine. There's nothing really wrong with him in the sense of the rest of them, but um, I guess in context of the game, he's poor. So that's his issue, is that you're not supposed to be able to be a knight if you're like a peasant. But and like he's not great at like reading and things like that at first. So, that's his issue. Um Tobias, he's the real disaster case. Um she meets him when he's like passed out on the floor, and he's like, it's fine, I'm just gonna lie here for a bit and I'm very sick. And um like he can't walk a few feet without like falling down or getting ill, and like he gets locked in his house by like a spiritual presence at one point, which is crazy. um like there's just a lot wrong with him, but he has an obsession with knights. He loves knights in particular. They're trying to portray it as like adoration for one of the main knights. His name is Burkett. He's on that side character page if you want to see him. But he's been like the main knight for the king for 10 years. And so Tobias is kind of obsessed with him, but it comes across as like he's kind of in love with him. And I was like, maybe I'm like getting in the way of something here by trying to date this guy. Because it seems like he wants to date that guy instead of me. But, it works out because it's an Otome game.
You know.
Milan is antisocial is a nice word for it. He is laser focused in on basically being like a blacksmith and doesn't care about anything else except for sweets. So he's just terrible at interacting with people. Absolute hot garbage at it. And then Kia can't remember anything. His memory resets every single day.
Great.
So he carries a wooden thing around his neck that he writes down like the main details that he has to remember about like where he lives and what his name is and his age and that stuff. And where he works. But every day he forgets everything else. So they're like, how are you going to train this guy to be a knight when he can't even remember the stuff to like do a test? So anyway, as you could tell, she picked some interesting choices for her knight group. So the common route is them basically just doing like a training montage to get ready to be knights. So they study, they fight, Um, they get ready, they do the test, and they all pass. Yay! So now we have a night order, and basically, depending on how you answer things, whoever you end up dating becomes like the captain of your night order.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, the other thing to keep in mind is it because people think that the protagonist is cursed, a lot of people want her dead. Like a lot of people, including her own family. Yeah,
The kitty's like, yeah, that's right.
that's Ichiban. Hi, Ichi. Um, oh, hello. He's like, you said my name. Hello. Um, so yeah, there are many attempts on her life throughout the game, and so it is good that she has a night order because she needs to be protected. There is also a secret love interest, who I'm sure you haven't guessed who it is yet because he's a side character.
Yeah, it's just a normal side character. I don't know what you
Go,
mean.
yeah, normal side character. Definitely nothing weird about him. Um, so yeah, it's it's an interesting game. I think the most interesting thing about it is that most of these routes span like at least a couple years,
Mm-hmm.
which is not something you usually see in Atome games. Like it's kind of hard to really um, explain like how many years pass unless it's like very explicit, like Josephine's route. But like she has birthdays and you know events end up happening. Oh, which by the way, speaking of events happening, um, her dad gets assassinated.
That sure is an event.
Yeah, in basically every route. And so she ends up getting named queen in basically every route, except for one, which I will talk about. So that's crazy. Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Um, but yeah, so I guess I'll dive into it.
You don't sound too sure of yourself.
I don't know. I'm just asking you. Is that go with you?
Let's go with me.
Okay. So I started with Josephine. Whoa. So like I said, he says that he is the prince of Zonderig. I just looked that up. He's been with a traveling circus for a while. He is kind of a brat. I
And
think
his
that's a
name's
name.
Josephine.
And his name is Josephine. Um, oh, you can put him in their casual clothes. That's fun. You can see his long hair. Oh, wait, I love it when you get to see their feet because they usually have like some ass pants. Oh, they have normal pants for the most part here so far.
That's his pants.
Yeah. All right. What about Adele? Does he have? Well, he's got his peasant pants. Um, Tobias. Well, you got some interesting socks there, my guy. Why does he look like somebody in Castlevania?
Maybe he is.
Look at his casual outfit and tell me that's not. I like that they call him the sickly noble. Like, damn, get wrecked. Eldest son of a poor farmer,
That jacket is just way too big for him, is the problem.
prince of a ruined kingdom. Yeah, it is, but doesn't he look like a Castlevania character?
I mean, he just looks like an old timey, like a 16th century dude.
Okay. Unsuccessful ornamental blacksmith. Wow, they're just wrecking these dudes. The forgetful boy. Oh, look at his casual clothes to see how his hair used to look.
Which one?
Kia. That's how you meet him.
Help, I can't see.
I can't see. Ah!
All my bangs are in my hair, or in my hair, in my
It's
face.
like the most intense Bieber haircut in the world. I have to see, does Eric have Oh, Eric has kind of normal pants too. Damn, nobody has weird pants.
They put a hairstyle like that in Final Fantasy 14 recently, and it looks very dumb.
Really?
Yeah.
Um, Side note, I know that they wouldn't, but there are two dudes in here that's like, I want to date these guys.
No, not allowed.
Well, it's good because they're like adult men, and I wouldn't want to date adult men as a 16-year-old.
Fair.
But the guy Allison, like, what a hottie. And then Burkett's also like, whoa, what? He's wearing like a skirt. He's a good looking feller,
Failer.
but he does have a crazy skirt on. Good for him. So yeah, Josephine. Oh, also just worth mentioning, Benetti also exists and is like a
The
little
mascot
fae.
character.
Yeah, it's a little fae that follows her around and loves her to pieces, and is also like very, very clearly queer coded. I'll get it out eventually.
We'll see.
So that's interesting. Anyway, Josephine. Um, his route is interesting because he initially says no, that he doesn't want to be a knight because he's like, I'm the prince of another country. Like, why would I choose to be the knight for you? Which, like, fair.
I'm also in the
Um,
circus. Thank you.
he's also in the circus. Um, he's kind of got his own thing going for him, ish. Not really. I mean, kinda. Um, but turns out he is a pretty good knight. And he thinks that, if he can work with the royalty of this country, that maybe he can, you know, find a way to help his own country. I really liked him as a character. I remember like his romance being like fun and believable and all that. Um, the problem is I don't remember a whole lot about his story. Um, I know that the country that absorbed his country um decides that they're going to like be the one who like they're involved with the assassination of her dad. And so like he is like stripped of his knighthood at one point because he was the one who brought the refugees from his kingdom to their kingdom, and one of the refugees is the one who poisoned her dad. And so they're like, this is your fault, which is kind of goofy to say that that's his fault.
Yuck.
I'm wearing Goofy on my pants right now.
It's true.
Um, but logic in Otome games isn't always logic. Um, but I think the cool thing about this route is that they do feel like they're kind of equals as opposed to like liege and knight type thing. Um, he's also very clearly the most competent of all of them in terms of being a knight, like very clearly in every single route.
I mean, that doesn't seem like it's that hard.
Okay, fair. He also has a magic sword that is basically like the symbol of the ruler, like the true ruler of his country. And the sister like try Claudia, the finger lady, tries to like steal it and give it to the king of the other country who's trying to claim that it's the real thing. He's like, aha! I knew it wasn't real. That's mine. Um, and then during the like rebellion where the other country invades, it turns out that like the princess's mom, the queen, is involved with it and is basically like the one who called them in. And she's like possessed by a god, maybe. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, And yeah, everything gets gnarly. And then eventually they win the fight, everything's good, but then Josephine's like, all right, I have to leave. I have to go help my country and like figure things out. So I can't be your knight anymore. And so he leaves for 3 years, and he like writes letters to our protagonists, and they miss each other a lot. And then eventually he just like shows back up, and he's like, "Hey, here's my heart and my sword and all that. Like, can we do this again?" And she's like, "I thought you were gonna like rule your country." He's like, "I set somebody else up to do that.
You know,
I just wanted to be with you." Which
just
cool,
like
I
Hootie and the
guess.
Blowfish would say.
It's true. Um, I don't know how that works exactly because like is there like something in terms of like a monarchy and how things are set up, and like he has no heirs, so I, I don't know. Anyway, he's like, I set it up and now I'm here and I want to be with you again. And so they do that. Yay.
Yay!
Yay. Like I said, I really liked him, and I liked his like story-ish. Um, just the actual plot of it is like not as memorable as some of
Right.
them. And that might be because I've just been stressed a sec. I don't know.
And it's been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. Josephine. So then I dated Tobias, which again it's spelled like Tobias, but they pronounce it Tobias. Tobias Harbeck Frey. Um, he, like I said, is very, very sickly. He's a noble. Um, he Kia works for him as like his I guess servant. I don't know what phrase to use here. Um, he in most routes is like your comic relief because he's just like a complete and utter goofball loser. But I do kind of like him. I think that his story is kind of all over the place, which I guess is not entirely surprising, but it is kind of all over the place. Um, how he essentially works is that, um, like I said, he like gets trapped in his house at one point, and him and the princess go back to his house and find like this weird shrine in their basement, and there's a box in there, and he's like, "Oh, huh, that's weird. I guess we'll just take this box with us. That's kind of a strange thing to find here. Doody 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 doo.
Yay, free box.
Yay, free box." But it turns out that what is this side character's name?
Eric.
Not Eric. I wish it was. Okay, so there is a religious order slash cult, I guess, called the Lux Order of Holy Knights. And basically they decide like, hey, we need to investigate them because they're like trying to kill the queen slash princess. So we're gonna go investigate them. So Tobias and the protagonist go undercover, which like, oh my God, why would you put royalty undercover over here? But whatever. So like go check out the like royals or the holy city based on this like cult religious thing. And you find out like, oh, there's like a temporary person in charge of this, and they've been looking for like the symbol of the leader and blah 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 blah. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Um, and things just get like completely out of control with this cult who is being led by the sister Claudia. She's the temporary leader. She's trying to get full control. At one point, Tobias like says, "Hey, I need to stay here, and you can go back and do your queen stuff." And like Claudia tries to like hit on him to like try and take him away. I don't know. It's weird. Um, Either way, it turns out that like, hey, the box has a ring that is the symbol of the Elder of Lux, and that Tobias is like the heir to being the leader of this cult, I guess.
What?
And so like he's basically leading a rebellion against the cult from within the cult, while the queen is also fighting back against the cult with her knights and army and blah 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 blah, trying to take it down. The sister's in charge of it, but the sister is actually a shadow puppet because the queen's in charge of it, and the queen is once again possessed by the god, but she gets unpossessed at one point, and they're like, "Oh, huh." The queen is just an empty shell of a person, and she has no memories and no functionality, and she's basically a vegetable. That's weird. Anyway, it's like that. We're just gonna move past that like it's nothing. Okay, I guess. Fine. Yeah, it's kind of goofy, but his route was also fine. I liked him, but he definitely was like the comic relief character,
Hmm.
and I felt like he was gone like a significant chunk of his route. So I'm like, I'm just listening to the protagonist be upset that he's not there. So great. um, so then I decided I was going to date Milan, who is, like I said, very, very bad at being social and most everything but being a blacksmith. Um, and his route, I think one of the first things I told you about his route is that I was trying to figure out, like, oh God, are they like related?
That sounds about right.
Do you remember that?
That's yeah. That I feel like that's usually how all this goes a lot.
Uh, um, it was weird because you get to his route and you find out that he's like secretly a part of this noble family, that people have been conspiring to kill him over the years, but by trying to kill him, they've killed like his entire family. So he's been trying to find out, like, he wanted to become a knight so he could get access to information to find out like who's been trying to kill him and his family. Um, and he's like part of the family that her dad is from, but her dad, I think, is adopted. I don't know. Like, there's the family tree is um crazy. Um, but the thing that is different about his route is that he at one point resigns as a knight and is like, I can't be your knight. I have to go do other stuff. And then they go and do the like ceremony to decide who's going to be the next king after the current king is assassinated. And the way that it works in all the other routes is that there's a box that's blessed by one of the religious leader type guys. I forget his name. Um, and they all put their hand in there, and whoever gets the paper with like the royal emblem on it, that's who becomes the king of the country, or in the case of a lady being a queen. And so the protagonist shows up to the ceremony to determine who's going to be the king, and she sees him there, and like, why are you here? And he's like, I'm being sponsored by your uncle. He wants me to be here, and so I'm going to throw my hand into the ring to be the king. And so they both have their hand on the paper, and it ends up ripping. And so there's like an argument back and forth of like, well, does he get it? Does she get it? What happens? And then the queen, the mom queen, is there, and it's like, well, there's a guy and there's a gal, and they could be rulers together if they just get married. So they do that. They get married, and everything's really weird and awkward because something seems very off about him. And it turns out that the uncle had given him a ring, telling him that it was like an heirloom from his mom, but the ring was like possessing him. And so he does things that are like extremely out of character, and he's aggressive and like tries to kiss her without consent and all kinds of crazy stuff. Um, which don't do that. That's bad news. Um, so that's kind of a wild twist that this is the one where like they're ruling together, I guess, but um he keeps getting mad because she like pushes back on him, and that's like the ring talking and blah 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 blah. Um he is also like told like the king was the one who had tried to do the assassination, which is incorrect, but then because he was told that, like his hatred was basically on to the princess that we play as the protagonist, and so he's like, I hate you too, blah. um and so
Bleh.
yeah, it's a whole lot. um Basically, eventually they figure it out. Yay. He gets rid of the ring. Yay. He feels bad. Yay. And then there is a rebellion against the kingdom during the like chaos. By the way, there's like a chaos event that happens at every route. Um and he's like, by the way, I'll tell everybody that I'm a false king, but like for now I have to help everybody. And so he's able to like help put the rebellion down and save a bunch of people, and they're not mad at him for being a false king, so he doesn't get any jail time or anything. Yay. um and I remember his he has two endings. I mean, everybody has multiple endings, but I do remember his two endings because one of them is kind of wild. And that's like his best ending, that um he meets up with a queen, and the queen being you. And there's obviously still some romance stuff happening there, but you've gotten divorced because he's a false king and blah 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 blah. And apparently in their country, like, you can't remarry the same person. um so they're like, well, I guess we'll just always be forever alone, blah 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 blah. Which in his like not as good route, that's basically what happens, is that they just decide like, we're going to be in love with each other, but we're not going to be married. And he like lives in his blacksmith house and all that. She just visits him. But in his best one, the religious leader's like, well, you got married with the last name of your um like noble family, but now you're back to your original last name of the family that you were adopted by. So you're technically not the same person. So if you wanted to get married, I'll overlook it. And like, well, that seems convenient.
We'll just
Can
jumping through some hoops there to make this work.
uh-huh. I was like, well, thanks, religious leader, I guess, but also what? I'm also realizing that there are two routes that involve like possession, which is kind of funky. Um, hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
So then I went to Adele's route, which again, like the thing that they say is his like shortcoming is that he's poor. So like everybody else is kind of like a disaster case and like, he doesn't have any money. Um, but he is actually like really smart and is able to do some like really interesting things with plants that can save people. Like he as a knight is able to create like a drought resistant plant for food, and he creates like a medicinal herb type thing that can help people for cheap. So like he's very obviously like a super intelligent guy, and uses like his farming for good, which I guess most people use their farming for good. But I don't know. It's kind of weird that like that's what they consider his negative is just like he's a farmer. But you know, what can you do? What can you do? Um, so I brought up the possession thing because 90% of Adele's route, he's possessed by a god, which
Oh,
makes this
fun.
route, it makes it kind of hard to enjoy because you're like, you're not even really getting to date him fully.
Right.
Like, he just switches personalities, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, he's obviously like a very sweet guy, and like the personality that you do get to hang out with is great. But for the most part, he's possessed by Vartal, which great. Um, by the way, something worth mentioning. Anytime Adele in his route is next to Eric, he wants to kill him.
Hmm.
And Eric's like, bruh, I don't have anything against you. I don't know what's going on. Just leave me alone. Like I just want a nap. He's like, no, I have to kill you. I have to. And then the little mascot guy, um, what's his face? Brunetti. Brunetti is also terrified of Adele when he is possessed. So I was like, before they tell you straight up, like, oh, it's this god. So yeah, I don't like his route because, like, again, you don't even really get to be with him a whole lot. You
It's not
are
really his
with
route.
right. It's like you're with a weird possessed version of him, and I don't know. He like tries to kill you, and I don't know, man.
A little
I don't know.
problematic.
Yeah, it's just it's not good because he was one of the ones I was really really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think his art's really pretty. He's a pretty man. Look at him.
Yeah, he's got hair
Um,
sticking out of his hair.
does he? Oh, he does in his casual outfit. Look at him. Look at his hay. In his night outfit, he's
A little bit more put together.
a little more put together, but like he's a handsome guy. And he's like one of the sweet ones in the comic route. So I was really excited to get to do his route. But again, like I felt like I didn't really get to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Like you learn a little bit about his family. Um, you get to like spend time with them, and they're like, "Oh, are you the girlfriend?" And he's like, "That's the queen. What are you doing?" Um, but I don't know. I mean, there's not really a whole lot I could say here because this is like the god and like the half god route. This isn't even the god route that I tell you about later. It's annoying. Um, so then there's Kia. who doesn't remember anything. And you find out like, oh, Kia was basically like given a wrong dose of medication when he was a kid, and it did like a weird poisoning thing that makes him forget everything every day. Um, so that's why he has the little piece of wood around his neck. Does the casual outfit have the piece of wood? I'm
Yes.
curious. He has his little wood. Look at him. So yeah, that has his information. Why did no one give this kid a haircut like before this? Although I guess his night outfit, they just kind of brushed his hair and you could see his eyes. But either way, kid's got no eyeballs. Um, so yeah, his is very magical. Very, very magical. The whole thing with him is basically that, all right, let me back up.
Beep beep.
You find out in one of these routes, and I don't even remember which one it is, that essentially the reason why the princess is cursed is because she's holding um like a god slayer sword in her body.
Yeah, that's where you keep
And
swords, obviously.
obviously that like she's like a magical sheath basically for this sword. And that because of like her curse and her mana and all that, like it's there. The necklace is a like protection talisman made by another god to make sure that she is um like that it doesn't drain her mana. And all of this is relevant because there are like some mm, requirements for you to become the sheath of this sword. Keep that in mind. So, as you're going through Kia's route, things are very normal until Kia disappears. Um, he is walking around with the princess and they go out to like this forest. He's like, oh, huh, I feel weird. And then he just disappears. And that's a problem because like at that point he's the like leader of the knights because again, whoever you date is the leader of the knights. And so like, they get entered into like a tournament by the uncle and they're like, oh, you're doing great, but like where's the leader? You got to have everybody in here in order to like win this tournament. Um, and so the princess is like, all right, well, since he's not here, I'll step in his place. I will fight. And everybody's like, well, that's weird. Okay. But she does, and then at one point she feels like she's in danger because she sees like an axe coming at her from the stands, and she like thinks in her head like, "Oh, I wish the Kia was here to protect me," and then he just poofs out of nowhere and like blocks it, and they're like, cool. All right, anyway, you can finish this fight, Kia." So they do, and um, so they end up winning because he's there now, and everybody's like, "Well, he just came out of nowhere." And they're like, "No, no, no, he just came out of the stands because he was nervous about the princess and he wanted to protect her." And turns out that the axe was a toy axe anyway, so she freaked out for no good reason. But it made him come back. And then they're like, "So what's going on here? What's the deal with Kia disappearing?"
What's the deal?
And it turns out that like the medicine that he was given as a kid in combination with something else, and I don't even remember what it was, but basically like he has a combination of being like, oh, he has like a blessing of that god as well. The wind god. What's his freaking name? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Um and so between those two things, um he is very magical accidentally. And in this route, instead of poisoning The king gets assassinated by being shot by an arrow from like a really high spot. And Claudia's like, wow, the only one who could have done that is Kia because he's an archer. And so they put him in prison and then he poofs out of prison accidentally. And the if you will follow me to the side character section, if you will.
All right, hang on. Let's take a look over here to the side character section, of course.
And if you click on one Rudy,
Rudy.
Rudy,
Uh huh.
so Rudy shows up after this disappearance of Kia in jail and is like, I kind of goofed. And the princess is like, oh, what do you mean you goofed? He's like, so I went to go see Kia in jail. And so I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm kind of secretly a god. And I'm trying to keep it on the down low. And when I touched him, my god powers interfered and he just kind of like poofed away. So I'm gonna try and figure that out. I'll get him back. But like in the meantime, can y'all investigate to try and like clear his name? So like that's the big reveal. Like, oh, by the way, he's a god. Um, I wonder if there's someone else who might secretly be a god in this game.
No, come on. Don't be ridiculous.
So and I wonder if he'll have the same last name as Rudy.
No,
Conveniently.
come on. That would be ridiculous.
Conveniently the same last name and they work in the same place. Huh. Interesting. Um,
I don't
how
see
how
it.
how could that be? We'll talk about it. So yeah, you and the knights do a bunch of investigating, and you realize like there was a
Ballista.
ballista. There's a ballista that was destroyed in that area, and then there was a new one that was commissioned to be put there. That there was a knight that was under Claudia's order that just mysteriously died recently. Wow, weird. And everybody puts it together like, oh, so she had one of her knights kill the dad and then like destroy the evidence, and then they were trying to blame Kia. Um, so Godman gets Kia back, and Claudia's like, well, if he was so innocent, why would he get out of jail? And they're like, he's been there the whole time. What are you talking about? He's still down there. And Claudia's like, what do you mean he's still down there? Ah! And sends somebody and he's down there. They clear his name. Wow, oh no, Claudia, you're in trouble because you did this. Ah. Um anyway, all this comes to a head because eventually people realize like, oh no, the real baddie of this is the queen. Not you the queen, but your mom the queen. I should start saying mom.
Old queen.
Old queen. Um and then again she's possessed by the one god that I've mentioned a few times that I forgot his name already. Started with a V. Um burp, 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 burp. Vorntal. Um so she is trying to come after the princess to take the Godslayer sword out of the princess. And Kia is like, hey, do you trust me? And we're like, yeah, duh, of course we trust you. We're dating you in this Satome game. And and he's like, all right, cool. And so he just like pulls the sword out of her and then disappears again. And when she wakes up, she's like, what happened? Like everything's fine with me. Everything's normal. Oh my God. Where's Kia? And Kia has just disappeared again, but they're like, yeah, the sword is gone. Kia became like the new sheath for it. Um, and I don't even remember how it happens, but like in his best end, he comes back. Um, but it takes like 2 years for him to like get enough mana to come back. So yay,
Yay.
yay. So obviously, there's a lot of stuff happening with gods in this game.
Ah, it doesn't seem like it.
Mm-hmm. So when I unlocked a secret route, I was like, who could it possibly be? Um, which again, I had some people that I would have thought I would be able to date before this guy, but Eric's always there.
Eric.
Eric, he's always there. He helps train your guys. He is like constantly hitting on the princess. He's always around. He's part of the acting troupe. He's there, but he's also weird as hell. So, there's that. Um, it is also a very, very strange route because one, you start out with his perspective. So like there's not a whole lot you do as well, you don't do anything in this route. You get no choices. Um,
Just
you
along for
just
the ride.
you're just railroaded into it. But like the first few chapters are like him waking up and talking to Rudy and like getting his new identity, and he has no memory. He's very confused on what's happening. Um, and Rudy basically like teaches him the ropes. And very soon into him waking up is like, by the way, I have a job for you. How about you protect the princess? Which I'm sure in most normal situations that an amnesiac guy who just showed out of nowhere, like they'd be like, yeah, sure, be a bodyguard for the royal family. That's fine. But apparently the king ordered it, so it's whatever. Um, but yeah, he's a secret god. And in particular, do you remember how I said there was a cult around Lux?
Uh
He's Lux.
huh.
So when he was in his human form 1,000 years ago, he basically didn't like the way that the gods were ruling the human world. So he made a rebellion. He became the king of that country. He like taught them how to do things, and so like that's why the Order of Lux existed. But then he ended up getting into a fight with Vorntel and being frozen for 1,000 years. And so like there's been this perpetual cult that ended up becoming kind of a death cult after a while. And so he's like, I don't like that this is named after me. That sucks. That's not what I taught you. Um, but the wild thing about Eric's route,
Eric.
is that every other love interest dies in horrible ways in his
Mm-hmm.
route. So like Josephine is trying to like protect everybody in a battle and gets stabbed. Um Adele, he also ends up getting stabbed, but he like holds on for a while and is like trying to protect the peasants. And they were able to like try and take his body to the princess's house and try and like help him, but he still dies. Um, Tobias was able to protect Angela, the princess's sister, um, and a bunch of people, but ended up dying on the street. Milan ended up getting possessed by Vorntal, and Eric had to cut him in half at the waist.
Yeah, how else are you gonna get the possession out?
That's one way. Speaking of being cut in half, Kia ends up getting cut. Um, it starts from his right shoulder to like his left waist area. And the princess is like, we have to treat him. We have to treat him. Eric's like, there's no surviving that. You cannot survive that as a person. Um, which he's not wrong.
No, it's pretty true.
That's a pretty big. There's a lot of important stuff in between the right shoulder and the left part of your waist, that you kind of need to not get cut in half. Um, but alas, so like all of them die in horrible ways, which is insane. And but before Kia dies, he's like, "Can you transfer the sword to my body, to take it out of the princess so that people will stop trying to get her?" And so Eric does that. Is able to get the Godslayer sword. Kia dies, and then he like attacks Vorntal, and is able to do some damage, but isn't able to actually kill him. Um, but then Eric's like, okay, look, I have this sword. Vorntal is damaged. I have to go back to the God realm. I have to take him out. And she's like, well, let me come with you. Like, no, you can't come with me. You're not a god. Stay here. Do what you gotta do. You're the queen. Take care of your country. Pat, pat, pat. And then he leaves, and she gets upset. She spends a lot of time like trying to get the country back in line. Um, there are very few people who survived. Basically, I think one of the only ones who did survive is Allison. Um, yeah, I think Allison is the only one who survived. And so they're trying to get everything back in line. They get it stable enough that she's like, I want to go to the God realm, and I want to punch Vorental in the face. And her little mascot guy's like, I can make that happen. Do you really want to do that? And she's like, yeah, I want to punch him in the face. He's like, all right, cool, let's go. So little dude warps her to the God realm, and then is very drained of all of his magic. And apparently they're like, he could have died doing that. Why would he do that? But it's because he cares about you. And then you get to Eric, and you're like, wow, Eric, you sure do have your crop top and abs out situation. What's going on here? Thanks, Eric. Um, and there's like this crazy plan to like take the sword that is now embedded into his body, and like they went from her to Kia to him, um to try and take down Vorntal while he's weakened, because he is in the God realm trying to save himself. But there is a split in the gods of the realm on who supports Vorntal and who supports Lux. Oh, and by the way, Rudy is down on Earth and is frozen for 1,000 years. Oops. So we can't rely on him. But they end up going to like, there's a village in the God realm where there's like servants for the gods, that apparently if you do certain things while you're alive, you get to go there. And she goes, and she's like, oh, hey, there's dad, and there's the big knight, and there's all my knights. They're alive. And they're like, no, we're not alive, but we're here. We'll help. So, that's good that they're not dead, I suppose. Well, they're dead. They're dead, but they're around. So they all come up with this big elaborate plan to like rebel against Vorental, and then like the bells go off to indicate that he's back, and they're like, well, we just got to do this. Let's figure it out. They do some like trickery to try and make Vorental think that he's going to get attacked by one character, but He gets attacked by Lux instead, and things end up going crazy. And at one point, Cecily is like, "What if I?" Oh, there's like a bunch of there's like six hourglasses that are like represent people who believe in these gods. And like if the hourglass is broken, then like that entire land just gets destroyed, which is kind of weird, but whatever. And Cecily is over by them at one point, and Vorental's like, "Well, if I target her, that's gonna make Lux not come after me," which is like the dumbest logic in the entire world. But he ends up like cracking one of the hourglasses, and one of the gods that was like on the side of Orental gets upset about that, and things go into like super duper haywire with like the hourglasses like start going backwards basically. I don't know, it's really weird. Anyway, he dies. They kill Vorntal. But they don't actually kill him. He becomes a baby.
But
Yes.
baby god.
He becomes a baby. And what happens is that because of the hourglass situation, it basically reverses time by 10 years. And so Cecily is sent back by Lux. She's, you know, basically 10 years old at this point. She's a child. And he's like, you could stay here and, I could wait for you. And she's like, no, I think I need to go back. If you're still interested in 10 years, come find me. Um, and so the good news is by us going back 10 years, everybody's alive again, like alive, alive. It's like the king's alive, all your knights are alive. She ends up like making the same order. Um, and she just feels like something's missing this whole time because she can't remember Lux. And then at one point, like Rudy shows up and is like, "Hey, I need you to trust me and go to this one place." And she's like, "I don't know you, but I feel like I should trust you, so I guess I'll go to that place." And she goes, and wow, there he is. There's Eric. Uh,
Eric.
and he's like, "Hello, I love you, and I want to be your knight." And he does like the knight swearing ceremony, and he's apparently been jealous this whole time that she never chose him to be a knight. Um, so whoops. Which I always thought was weird because it's like he's way more skilled than any of these guys here, and he's training them. Like, why don't you ask him to be one of your knights? And she never does. Um, so anyway, him asking to be the knight is his way of basically pledging that he will be with her forever. So that's the god route, and that's the game.
You did it.
What do you think,
Uh, Eric.
Eric?
That's what I think.
All right, cool, great. Um, if you take anything away from the game, I'm glad that it was that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it ranking time?
I think it's time to rank.
Okay.
Oh, we have 50 games on the list. This will be game 51.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you like to start?
I say we start about 31.
31. All right. Psychedelica, the Ashen Hawk. Is it better or worse than that?
I'd say it's better than that.
All right. Is it better or worse than Hatoful Boyfriend Holiday Star?
I would say it's better.
Is it better than Tears of Themis?
Yes.
Is it better than Cupid Parasite Sweet and Spicy Darlin'?
Hmm. I mean, I didn't get to name anybody D's in this one, so
True.
I think that it goes under Cupid Parasite.
All righty. Temirana, the Lucky Princess, and the Tragic Knights.
Yay!
Our new number 29 here on the list.
That's not terrible.
It's not. It's about middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about it. It's kind of middle of the road. It's not a great Atome. It's not a bad Atome. It's an Atome.
It's an Atome. Well, I mean, we'll be adding more to this list here shortly, so we'll see where those end up on the list and all that.
As I run the gauntlet.
As you run the Atome Gauntlet.
Which I've already finished the second one of the gauntlet.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that one.
But you needed a break, and now you're not on game 3 yet.
Not on game 3 yet, sorry.
No. But you'll get there eventually.
I will. I promise.
But anyways, that's gonna do it for us this week. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonlandcheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Blue Sky at seasonlandcheckup.com. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, Hot Tubs, and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early. Our monthly exclusive Patreon podcast. We got a new episode of that out. We watched The Terminator.
The Terminator.
And also just talked a lot about James Cameron as well.
You know, our good friend Jim.
Our good friend Jim. So yeah, you can go check out that and all the previous episodes of that, along with some other fun bonus content up on the Patreon as well. Next week, we'll talk about something else.
Maybe the next Atome?
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
Woo!